Welcome to the show, everybody. I am toNyO. This is Mr. Michael Schratt. And Michael, thanks for being here as always. Oh my gosh, you've got a busy schedule. You got a lot going on.
Sure, absolutely.
I know that you're on your way to Indiana after today to do something.
It'll be a Zoom call, but
Yeah.
we're going to do that in Indiana, so we'll keep the crash retrievals going.
Yeah, so, and that's with MUFON.
Correct.
Okay, and MUFON's a big organization.
It's a pretty big organization.
They've been around a while.
Since 1969, yeah.
And today's topics, we got some great things to talk about. There's a lot of craziness happening, and we're seeing a lot of videos, but I'm excited for this new generation as they're getting exposed to all this. You know, so let's do some shout outs first to everybody who's been kind enough to be interested in what we're doing. But we're glad you're here, Michael, as always. TikTok shout outs to Willie B, Chloe Turner, OMG Spot, and Jason ALC. Thanks for looking us up, American Foo Fighters on TikTok. And let's talk really quick before we get into the meat and potatoes. Brent and Blake Cousins' new trailer.
Yeah, well, you know they're at the tip of the spear. So they're pounding the pavement. They're out in there, so I give them credit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw it, and I think it looks fabulous. I really think it's really something. And then a quick shout out to Space Explorer, of course that's SpaceX, on their first spacewalk. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. No.
Wow, it was just amazing. Like, I'm watching this, and the guy goes, "Hey, Dragon, go ahead to open the door." I'm like, wait a minute, that's the wrong spacesuit. It's supposed to be puffy and big and a big helmet, and it was just like, no big deal. And they opened up the top of the capsule, and they just come out, and I was like, wow, that is so awesome. So props to them. All right, before we get going here, Michael, you've got some stuff you're going to start covering. I have a question for the audience, and don't Google it first. Try to answer it. Oh yeah, shout out to our friends over at Dovetail Brewery in Chicago, out there on Irving Park Road. Thanks for watching the show. Dovetail Brewery on Irving Park out there. I have a question for the audience before we get started here. My question to you, true or false? Bob Lazar blew the lid off the government secrets about UFOs on Area 51. Area 50, is it 51? Yeah. Area 51. On UFOs in 1986. Is that true or false? Don't Google the answer. What year do you think it was, Michael?
Well, it was 88, 89 when he came forward. So.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I saw that 1989. I was a young guy, and I was like, I knew it. I knew it. All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Michael, what do we up first to get going on here?
Well, we're going to go according numeric order to your list that was provided here.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and start with the material here.
All right.
I want to mention this gentleman right here because he plays a role in something timely that we just had a week ago from Wednesday, which was this congressional hearings about UAP, about crash retrievals. We've got people doing congressional hearings in Washington, D.C., but the problem is we're not moving the ball forward. We've been in this game for 80 years now. We've tried the democratic process, and so far it's failed us because we don't see any debris, bodies, hardware, or craft. Where is the evidence? Everybody wants to know where the evidence is. And all we're hearing from these whistleblowers is, I can only tell you this in a skiff environment. What about us? You know, we want to see this. So it's clear that what's happening here is they're just going to continue to kick this can down the road and just time this out so that all the legacy witnesses to the crash retrievals completely pass, and in the eyes of the government, at that point it will be cover-up complete. That's what they're waiting for.
Well, that's been the same old story.
It's been the same old story.
And you're right. And obviously November 13th, if you're new to the world of UFOs, crash retrieval, what's going on, aliens underwater, all that stuff, this is not new news to us. If you're just learning about this stuff, it was, for me personally, it was very disappointing.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you on that. So we could talk about that all day.
We want to see the hardware. We
Yeah.
want to see the bodies.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, and we're just spinning our wheels here.
Absolutely. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And, you know, these congressmen, they, whatever. All right, let's talk about your first.
Okay. So what we have on the screen here is a photo of Danny Sheehan. And for people that don't know about him, he obtained degrees from Harvard University and Harvard Law School. He's a large advocate for UFO disclosure and transparency. He's well known within this field. In 1977, he was given a one-time only special security clearance to investigate some very interesting files at the Library of Congress. Now, he's talked about this in many interviews before, but I wanted to drill down on this. I heard about this and I thought, this is interesting. This is something that we need to pursue and run this to ground. So we got 1977 Library of Congress, and what he investigated, these were the classified files specifically associated with Project Blue Book. These are not to be confused with the unclassified Project Blue Book files, which have long since been declassified, sent to the National Archives. The photos were accessed by Danny Sheehan at the Madison building basement during January of 1977 under the direction of the Congressional Science and Technology Committee and Marcia Smith at the Congressional Research Service. So I want to give everyone an idea of where he got the information and how he got there. We want to provide these breadcrumbs to everybody. So where are the classified Project Blue Book files? We've all heard about Project Blue Book, but there's a subset of files that are classified that are connected to the main Project Blue Book files that aren't talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the files that Danny got access to back in 1977. So let's continue on here. What you're looking at here on the screen, this is the James Madison Memorial Building where he actually got into the access to the files. Let me do a kind of a top view looking down here. So what you're looking at here is the United States Capitol. If you go off to the right, you've got the Library of Congress, and then just south of that, you've got the James Madison Memorial Building. That's the building that we want to talk about here. So he goes to the Madison Memorial Building, and I've got the basement layout here. He goes into the basement, so he takes this elevator down. Now we're in the basement, which you see on the screen here. He goes down this long corridor.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to the end of the corridor, he sees two security guards. They check his identification. Yes, it's Danny, so they let him into the facility. He goes into a medium-sized room, and I'm going to go to the next slide here. And what he sees is kind of this mobile dolly with documents on it. And then he sees multiple boxes with strings that are basically attaching these cardboard boxes, securing them. You've been to these archives before. They have these boxes with the string. That's exactly what he said was there. Inside these boxes were multiple microfilm reels, so that's what we've got on the screen here. And so it dawned on him, and he was thinking, I don't know if I'll ever get back here. I don't have a lot of time to spend here. I got to make the most of my time. So what he ended up doing is, and I've got a period correct microfilm reel here, he started pulling out these boxes of the microfilms, and he started loading these things into the microfilm reader. And so he's going through there, he's stringing it through, he's bringing it up on the catch reel, and he's starting to go through these things. All of a sudden, Tony, guess what he saw?
Dead alien bodies.
Close, getting to that way.
Okay.
Getting to that direction. He saw 3 photographs of a UFO crash retrieval operation in the midst of it actually going on. They have this documented in the classified Project Blue Book files.
Wow.
We've provided where they were brought from off-site to the James Madison Memorial Building. So he's looking at this, and it's unbelievable. What it depicts is a UFO that crashed at a winter scene. There were 3 men there. They all had winter parkas on. They all had their hoods up. They had a furry flange. You know those furry flanges on the winter jet? That's exactly what it had. 3 of the men had still cameras, and they were photographing the entire scene. The man off to the left had a dual shoulder-mounted motion picture film camera. He was documenting the whole thing. Now this thing was tipped up at a 30-degree angle. It had a low-rise dome on top. There was some hieroglyphic writing that was written on the lower portion of the upper dome. So he's going through these photographs.
Okay.
Okay, now he knew that his time was limited there, so he was smart. He brought his legal pad, which as you see on our screen here, legal pad is off to the upper right. And so what he did, he proceeded to page through all the blank pages until he got to the cardboard backing that you know on these legal pads.
Sure.
He put the cardboard backing onto the microfilm reader, and he projected the image of the crash retrieval scene onto the backing cardboard, and he proceeded to one-to-one per scale trace the hieroglyphic lettering on the lower portion of the upper dome, and he got it. He got, you know, this symbol was on his notepad.
Wow, that's
what
cool.
You're looking at here on the bottom here on the right-hand side
Yeah.
is a sketch that he made for me and Rudy when we met with Danny at the restaurant near Los Angeles. This is per his memory of what these hieroglyphic writings look like. All right, so he's done with that. His time is up. He's walking out of the facility. They check his ID again, and he walks down the corridor, and then the security guard says, "Hey, wait a minute, come back here. What's that under your shoulder?"
Gelatin.